Did you know that the average woman spends 7 years of her life menstruating? 7 years. Now imagine that you are going to go away somewhere for a 2-week holiday, or you're going to go away somewhere for a month, or you're going to go away to university or to graduate school for 3 years, 4 years. How much time and energy do you put in to making sure that the place you're going, the place you're going to stay, a hotel, a dorm, a hostel, an Airbnb, how much time do we spend making sure it's absolutely perfect? Now imagine that you had to go somewhere for 7 years. How much time and energy would we all put into making sure that that place was beautiful, safe, healthy, peaceful? And of course, not only for ourselves, we would do it for our loved ones. To men, imagine that your wife is going away somewhere for 7 years. How much attention you would pay to making sure that wherever she's going is safe and healthy, or your daughters are going away. So 7 years we spend menstruating, but we don't spend any time or energy making sure that those 7 years are healthy, are safe, but we need to. In India, tragically, about 70% of girls don't even learn about menstruation until they actually start menstruating. So all of the fear, anxiety, shame, confusion that arises when suddenly they're bleeding. Imagine, 70%. They don't even know what it is until they've got blood trickling down their leg. About 23 million girls drop out of school in India every year simply because they don't have education about how to take care of themselves well while they're menstruating, or because they don't actually have access to supplies, or because their schools don't have toilets where they can change themselves, or because the toilets at the school don't have doors, so there's no privacy. 23 million girls a year we are losing just in India, simply due to lack of education about menstrual hygiene. It's not rocket science. It doesn't require girls to be geniuses in order to understand. It doesn't take years and years of education. A few hours. It's all it takes to give them that education. And then a little bit of planning and infrastructure to make sure that there's access to supplies and to places where the girls can change themselves. All of this attention, money, energy we're putting into educating our girls, empowering them, uplifting them. And 23 million a year are dropping out of school, losing that opportunity to actually become successful, productive members of society. If we could just give them the education and give them access. But we're still in a situation where only about 20% of women in India in rural areas use menstrual pads. 20%. It means 80% of them are basically sitting at home 4 or 5 days a month because they don't have access or knowledge about a way to take care of themselves. In urban areas, it goes up to just over 50%. But almost half of the girls and women, even in urban areas, do not use menstrual pads, which means, again, that 4 or 5 days a month, we are losing the power of our girls in school, of women in the workplace. It's not rocket science. We need to bring this accessibility. But it needs to be brought in a way that's eco-friendly. Because even though only such a small percentage of women and girls are actually using menstrual pads, nonetheless, 2,200 crores of menstrual pads, that's 22 billion menstrual pads a year, are discarded just in India. 22 billion pads. Now this is leading obviously to incredible land pollution, ground pollution. When rains come or when things get dumped on the banks of rivers, that ends up being water pollution. Tragically, a lot of the NGOs working for this think that the solution is incineration. Then all we've done is we've turned our ground pollution into air pollution. So we need to be working on and supporting eco-friendly menstrual solutions, whether it's things like menstrual cups or whether it's the eco-friendly reusable cloth menstrual pads for which there's great innovations in ways that don't leak, that last for hours, very absorbent. We need to really dedicate ourselves to this. They're our sisters, our daughters, our mothers, ourselves. And it's 7 years of our life. I remember when I first came to India, I would hear other girls and women say, "Oh, I'm down." And I thought that meant depressed, coming from a psychology background. But I realized, I learned, it actually means I'm on my period. Now you think about the emotional and mental ramifications of the vocabulary that we use around menstruation. I'm down. My monthly problem. My monthly illness. Simply words, but these words carry so much power in our minds and in our hearts and in our lives. So we need to change our vocabulary. Instead of saying, I'm down, we need to say, I'm up. I am up because the divine creator has given me, in my body, the ability to create. Wherever there is menstruation, that is the only place creation can take place. Where there's no menstruation, pre-puberty, after menopause, or in non-menstruating women for any reason, they cannot give birth. No creation is possible. Menstruation is the symbol to remind us that we have that divine creative energy in us, that the Creator is working through us. So not I'm down, I'm up. My monthly, not problem, monthly opportunity to remember that that divine feminine principle, that Shakti, that Shrishti, that Prakriti, this creation, this nature, this power of creation is in me. Let us change the vocabulary, change the way we think, change the way we teach, change the way we provide. Only then can we really have gender equality, women's empowerment, uplifted, inspired, productive girls in our society and in our world. So let today, as Menstrual Hygiene Day, be the day that we commit to making this change.